Recently, Microsoft Game Studios and Undead Labs came together to put out a brand new game for the Xbox Live Arcade, State of Decay. State of Decay is an open world sandbox kind of game where you are a survivor in the middle of a zombie outbreak. It's the end of the world, the army is there, and you have to try and survive. You have to round up other survivors and try and build a community to push back the zombie apocalypse, all the while trying to figure out why the army is there, even though they seem to be doing absolutely nothing. There isn't much in the way of audio for this game, outside of sound effects and random voice acting. There's no real music to it, so you're better off just applying your own soundtrack to your hard drive or throwing a CD in your CD player or MP3 player. There's no soundtrack to the game, so the audio is mostly sound effects, and the sound effects themselves are pretty good. Unfortunately, there's a lack of tension because of the lack of music, but it does amp up the element of isolation in a way. The sound effects, however, are pretty generic as far as the zombie moaning, the voiceovers. Many of them don't even sound all that impressive or even that strained, or even all that desperate, really. It just mostly comes off as a couple of random things that everybody says outside of storyline dialogue and some of the cutscenes. And that's the problem. Many of the lines of dialogue that you hear end up being repeated constantly, such as one person asking if you brought them anything, and your character saying that you brought a pony, but it tried to bite her, so you ate it. Or you killed it, I should say. The controls for the game aren't all that bad, but they do suffer from many of the typical open world kind of issues. A lot of times when you try to turn your character around, instead of literally just sidestepping to the left in order to turn real quick, your character has to spin around in a way. This becomes a major problem when you have to line up your character with an object to search it. It becomes really frustrating trying to figure out where exactly you have to stand to search it, which is directly in front of it, but getting to it becomes a major problem that will sometimes just make you want to grab the screen and just strangle your character. It drives me nuts, and it will probably drive you nuts as well. Aside that, driving the cars varies heavily, depending on the make and the model. Some will move fluidly like old school Ridge Racer style games. Others just seem to go off without even knowing what's going on. You're turning, and instead of going like this, you're going like this. Driving becomes a major issue at times too, and considering the huge gaps between certain towns, the church, and the mountain that you first start the game on, you're going to be spending a good amount of time within a vehicle trying to get around. It's also a good aid for when you're trying to take down huge hordes of zombies, or even just random infestations. Other than that, the controls are pretty good, and they do respond quick enough that you won't really have much of a problem, aside when you are swamped with hordes of zombies. The graphics in this game actually left me feeling a little let down. Yes, this is an Xbox Live Arcade title, and yes, it's an open-world sandbox-style game, but I expected a little more than graphics that I would find on my GameCube for this title. It uses the Havoc engine, and a bunch of other things that I don't even really remember. It's just a wall of stuff. And it honestly just doesn't look all that great. Especially when you get glitches. And this game has its fair share that are driving me crazy. It's keeping me from actually completing all of the achievements. Basically, the glitches are giving me a migraine with the random black and white bars that appear for absolutely no reason, and that they really do affect the graphics. Aside that, there are the typical frame rate issues. Things load slowly, and sometimes if you run fast enough, you can glitch out the graphics. Pretty bad. Outside of that, it does look nice, it just doesn't look Xbox. It looks GameCube. The storyline itself is pretty simple. You basically just start out with two characters, and you have to progress towards the ranger station where you find a group of other survivors. And the more you go out, journey, and try and do things, you come back, you get various things done, like you learn how to survey and everything like that. But when you come back, they're gone. So you have to run. You run to the nearest town, you find a church, and in this church are more survivors. This is your home base. As far as the home base goes, this is where your stories really take off. You will find the army in town. You will be given random quests to save survivors or help people out in the community, and there are many times where you'll have to go back to the base camp while you're in the middle of doing stuff and basically just slap people upside the head and tell them to quit bitching. Quit your bitching. Quit whining. Quit crying. You're bothering all of us. But you have the option to kick them out, and unfortunately, if you're going for the 15 people within the community achievement, you can't do that. I haven't done that yet, but I've lost a good amount of people in the process. A few have died because some of the quests, well, they ended way too early. And that becomes another huge problem within this game. The quests. Unfortunately, a good amount of State of Decay comes off more like you're doing fetch quests half the time. There isn't really much in the line of story quests, and yeah, they're very few and far between. A lot of times you're just hand-holding somebody to get to the root of their problem as to why they're crying, why they're complaining, why they're miserable, why they're afraid, wiping out random infestations that you happen to find, trying to rescue survivors, and the most irritating of them all, barricading your home. Yes, this is a thing, and it's something that I did throughout the game just because I am an anal gamer like that. I'm pretending that this is actually going on, so I'm barricading every window I could find. But there are some quests, story and side quests, where you actually have to defend a household by barricading. And so, I don't even know how to get this thing to work half the time. I'll barricade the windows, zombies will crash through, I kill them, and more just keep coming. I had to save Doc Wilson for a story-based achievement to help Ed from the very beginning of the game. Nope. 25 minutes, and I finally just die. I die because, well, I can't stop the zombie horde. Lo and behold. And then the more I do this, the more hordes come. The more they find the place. I hate this quest. I hate these quests with a passion. I wish they weren't put in. They are annoying as all hell. And yeah, it really does drag the game down and really just makes it hard to sit through. Whenever I get these quests, I look at it as, those people are dead. They are dead to me. I'm not going for them, and sure enough, they die. I'm probably not helping the story quests at all with that either. The main glitching issue is that AI and zombies can be stuck in a wall. The camera will pan under something, and you can't see anything. That's a whole other issue. I'll get to that in a second. But when they get stuck in things, good luck trying to kill them, because unless they happen to come out, chances are they're in a spot that you can't hit. The very first time this glitch happened to me, I was rescuing a group of survivors. I had one zombie left. They're all hanging out near a washing machine. I look up, here's a zombie atop the washing machine they are all at. Washing machine, wall, fridge, or stove. It was something there. It was a utensil. Not a utensil, an appliance. It kept going from one over. It never went back. It never fell. It finally, I just kept swinging, and I finally hit it, which knocked it free out of the eternal purgatory loop that happened. On top of that, my character got knocked through a wall and stuck in barrels. I had to restart the game. That caused me to actually lose at least a good 20-30 minutes of my work for some reason. I don't know what happened, but a good amount of it just disappeared. And on top of that, I did have a game save that just didn't save. I played for about an hour, hour and a half on day 2. I made a lot of progress. I load up the game. Nope, no progress left whatsoever. Gone. And on top of that, finally, I'm going to get to the camera because the camera sucks. The camera does go through walls. It does go under crap. You can't see anything. And God forbid you're out in the friggin' forest somewhere because the camera just leaves. You can't see me? Yeah, you can't see the zombies that are coming. You get the little mini-map thing. Right over here somewhere. It'll be over here somewhere. It'll be like right here. Right here on the very bottom of the corner. And all you can see is that. You can see the red dots, but you can't see the zombies at all. God, it's annoying. Not to mention that the AI is easily some of the most idiotic, stupid, unresponsive, unhelpful pieces of digital crap that I've ever had the misfortune of working with. God! I can't tell you how many times I'm trying to get through a room. I am trying to deal with searching for something. Next thing you know, I turn around and trying to leave. Right in the doorway, we're not moving. I have to try and push them. And half the time I can't even push them because they are against the wall and you can't get through that way. But the worst of all, The worst was that I took out one of the people who were complaining that they were afraid or something. They had a problem going on. I took them out. I used them as backup because when you have a partner out there, chances are good you are not going to die. And when you die, you can't use that character anymore. So God forbid if you die with your best character. Work with all of them. Figure out which one you don't care about. Sacrifice that one. Because there is an achievement to sacrifice the character, basically. Actually, two, in a way. But either way, figure out which ones are worse, and if you want those achievements, use them. But, yeah, in any event, I take them out. I'm killing off infestations because, my god, some of them are a pain in the ass to do by yourself, because hordes will come by and friggin' sweep you. I go all the way back, she gets attacked by a zombie, and she just stands there. No matter what I do. Just stands there. She fights zombies, but she just stands there. I'm trying to get into the place. I'm trying to get in my home base. I go in. I can't find her. Blue dot is right there still. It's right down here. It's just a little thing here. It's just standing there. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to go. I figure maybe I got to talk to her. Nope, talking to her doesn't work. Okay. Maybe I'll walk over a different way. No, it didn't work. No. Nope, not at all. Nope, just going to stand there with her thumb up her ass. Yeah, lovely. So I go and I try pushing her. That don't work. Because of the controls. You start pushing her over this way. Push, that way. I had to reboot the game. And I lost all the work that I did on those infestations, meaning I had to redo them, which I still didn't do because now I'm too afraid to go out there with someone. Overall, State of Decay really isn't that bad a game. It just has so many problems. So many glitches. The insane, repetitive taunting, I guess you would say, and random statements. The glitching, the bars, the controls. It's such a good idea. I love the concept of an open world zombie game. Matter of fact, that's why I'm anxious to get my hands on Dead Rising 3. This game, though, not so much. I actually don't want to play it anymore. I got about 18 hours in, and just how slow the story quests activate, I'm bored with it. But there is a good deal of positive stuff about it. It is a fun game. It is enjoyable. You do get to do a good amount of things, a good amount of stuff. You do get to rescue people. You do get to feel like you are within an actual survival horror film. Just with the ability to walk through walls and have black and white bars appear on the screen for literal split seconds, with backgrounds that don't always load properly, and when you're running, your screen starts freezing, frame rate issues. Yeah. Combat system is fun. I'll give it that. Overall, honestly, this game is what it is. It's an open world kind of game. I've never been a huge fan of the open world style games, but you know what? State of Decay is actually a rather fun game that I enjoyed for a while until it just got to the point where everything started getting repetitive. I started losing characters over the dumbest things because some days I'll log on to play and everything is simple, and then the next day it's like, oh my god, I take a step out and I die. I don't know if they have a fluctuating difficulty thing while you're playing it, but either way. What do I rate it? Given the countless flaws, and considering how long this game has been in development, I can't really give this that high a score. I mean, it is a fun game. If you like open world titles, you will like this, even at $20. I mean, it compares. Just think about an open world game like Grand Theft Auto, but with zombies and more on the GameCube than an actual Xbox arcade title. I'll give it a. You know, this is actually a good question. I really want to give it a low score, but at the same time, it is an enjoyable game, and I want to give it a higher score. I'm really torn with this one. I gotta go with like 5.5 right now.